Welcome everybody to another episode of For Couples Only. We're pleased to have with us Dr. Nabil Bey, who has dedicated his life to the counseling in the Coptic Orthodox Church. Dr. Nabil, we're going to go through a scenario today that has to deal with different personalities. This scenario deals with a husband who has a very different personality from his wife, and apparently this question comes from his wife. He's very dominating. He never asks for directions when they're lost. And on the other hand, she's a very social butterfly. She likes to be around people. She loves people. She enjoys their company. It sounds like they love each other, life is getting harder for the two of them. And it seems that his decisions are what matters most in this particular family as far as children, education, health. And it's really... she feels useless as if her opinion doesn't matter. Her question to us is, can one personality so different work out when two different personalities like this work out in a marriage? And can she change her husband's personality to suit her?
Because you're talking now about the healthy personalities, not the personality disorders. And healthy personalities are 4 categories of personalities, because we know that there is no single one in the whole universe whose personality is an exact copy of the other. The personality is like a fingerprint. So we say 4 groups or 4 categories of personalities. Yeah, that husband is more of the dominant category. We have the healthy 4 categories: the dominant personality, the sociable emotional personality, the perfectionist personality, and the serving personality. And each one of its characters. Unfortunately, if someone is mostly dominant, nobody could change another personality. I know a woman who stayed 25 years trying to change the personality of her husband, and then at the end she failed because he doesn't want to change. So the first issue in changing the personality is that the person himself wants to change. And he submits to God, because he will know the bad aspects of his personality. And there are good and bad in every personality. The most difficult to deal with is the dominant personality. Why? Because the dominant personality, they don't listen to others, as if you are talking to a wall, and as if you are banging your head on the wall. You are going to bleed, and he will never change. God is the only one who could change a dominant personality, like Pharaoh. God worked on Pharaoh. St. Paul, Saul of Tarsus, was dominant perfectionist. And God worked on him the hard way. So if someone wants really to change, or God wants to change someone, Nebuchadnezzar also was a dominant personality. So for God to work either for the best of the group or his people, he will change someone, or the person himself will feel that others are frustrated, they are suffering from him, then they will ask God. And he himself will feel that he is a source of pain for them. He would ask God to help him. But dominant personality is one of the most difficult personalities. My way or the highway. My way or no other way. Because they don't listen, and it's dangerous to argue. If you come close to that personality, you have to say whatever you want in a very short sentence and run away. Keep the door out behind your back, because they could become aggressive. different than the sociable. The sociable personality, all what they want in life, to love and to be loved. Very compassionate, very tender, very loving, but they are not organized. And there's no value of time for them. They continue loving people, very good in public relations, but they are not good in a work which needs details. But they're still good. There's a need for the dominant to lead, and there's a need for the sociable emotion also in any group, in any setting. The perfectionist personality is a person who is very detailed oriented, pure or high perfectionist. They value so much the details and the standard of accepting situations. They need everything to be perfect, which means I'm not going to accept this program, I'm not going to accept you, I'm going to accept any situation unless it's nearly 100% right. And of course, it's so difficult. The perfectionists are not good in expressing emotions as the dominant. They are task-oriented, not people-oriented. And they are so good in organization, but they are very critical, always criticizing, mostly negative criticism. They depress others who are working with them, and they are depressed most of the time because they cannot meet and see the standards they are looking for. There's also, you have the serving personality, which is the best of all the personalities. The perfectionist personality is someone who's very hard on himself and hard on others to get qualities, to get standards. But the serving personality, like a servant, is hard on himself. He's trying to be as God wants him to be, but he's very emotional and loving to those whom he's serving, to others. So he's not hard on others. He might tell them what he wants, and if he can't do it, he will help them to do it. And those who carry the burden of the work in every company are the serving. They like to serve. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were like that. Most of the prophets were perfectionists, because they have to be perfect in giving the message. One of the very sociable, emotional, David, Peter, St. Peter, impulsive, loving, emotional. You see King David and the prophet and the king, how the way he dealt with his children. He's very loving. But there are certain disadvantages, negative issues around that personality. Aaron was like that too. Aaron, Musa's brother, he allowed them to have the calf, the golden calf. So because he loved the people, and they were angry because Moses, on top of the mountain, they asked him, we need to have a God. So he allowed them. Because of love, he allowed something wrong to happen. So I'm giving just examples. And all these could change if you submit to God. And everybody before marriage, he has to study the qualities of the person, of the personality he's going to join his life to. And there's a way, the best way how to deal with someone. We give some guidelines for everyone in the premarital counseling, how to deal with each personality, how not to get in conflict. So the easiest is the emotional with the serving. But if a perfectionist will marry an emotional, is much harder than a dominant with emotional. Because the dominant needs his orders just to be fulfilled.
summarize this, can we say that certain personalities should not marry other certain personalities?
No, everybody could marry, but with more suffering. And if you will go in suffering, you ask God to help you. But everybody could change, believe me. God has changed Tarsus, Saul of Tarsus, and became Saint Paul. Sarah was dominant too. You know Sarah?
So for this particular lady, what advice can you give her?
That lady?
Yes, the dominant personality and this social butterfly that are having a hard time.
Better for her to obey, not to go in any confrontation with him, open confrontation, because it is dangerous for her. Better to have a third person if she wants something important to be discussed, somebody with her. If she wants to talk to him, better to be away from the emotions, to say whatever she wants in the shortest sentence she can, and to pray for God, that God will change him.
Would a dominant personality like this even allow her to bring a third party in?
Yes. Yes. Because he doesn't care whether he has 2 or 3 or 4. His mind is set. And nobody could convince him unless he himself will be convinced by himself. And the perfectionist, if he looks to God, if he accepts the unconditional love of God for himself, he will change. So he will trade some of the details or some of the high standards by the love of God. So he'll be more loving if he will accept the love of God to him. And he will change from being a perfectionist to being servant or serving. And the emotional with more organization, because God also wants us to be organized. And there's a value of time. So if I look for what God wants me to do, an emotional personality could move to be a serving personality. The dominant, the hand of God only is the one which could change him. Like he did with Saul of Tarsus. He blinded him for 3 days, and all his life was unable to see clearly, to remind him that I want you to submit to me. And he became Saint Paul by the work on him.
So you heard it live here. There's hope for you, and there's hope for all of us. Thank you, and this is it for Couples Only right now.
Thank you.